Hello, 8th graders. You can make someone's day by writing them a friendly letter. There are few things we cherish more than a message from someone we care about, someone who's taken the time to write to us. And even though we rely more and more on technology to tend to our communication, I encourage you, not just because the Diocese of Dallas says you need to know how to write both a friendly and business letter, but because it is a treat to write it and a treat to receive it. Here is the layout of a friendly letter. Up at the top, you write out the date, including write out the month and the day, followed by a comma and the year. This is against the right-hand margin. Here's your date. If you were going to include your return address, it would go on the lines above the date. For our purposes, for our school-based letter, we don't need to do that. Skip a line, come over to the left-hand margin, and this is where you'll write your salutation. Nice big word, beautiful word for greeting, salutation. You need to know that word. And it begins with the word dear, and then the person's name, always followed by a comma. In a business letter, typically this comma becomes a colon, but in a friendly letter, it's a comma. To know how far to indent, you look at the space between the dear and the name and line up your new paragraph, each new paragraph under that space. Then your subsequent lines will go back to the margin where the dear is, and they will line up with dear. When you finish a paragraph, you start a new one by matching up that same indentation, the space between the dear and the name. In the body of this of this letter, you'll find all the specifics that I'll be mentioning, maybe a little more detail. So if you want to stop the video to review, all the information is in these paragraphs. Once you finish your letter and you're ready to sign off with the closing, you match up the closing with the date. It makes a nice connection. So these lines are all logically lined up with something else, from the date and the closing to the salutation and the opening lines to the paragraphs. Kind of lovely symmetry. The word you use to close with depends on your relationship with that person. If you're writing to a family member, you might use love. For a teacher, a staff member, we've got sincerely, sincerely yours, yours truly, something like that would be appropriate. What you should notice is that the first word of the closing is capitalized. If it goes to more than one word, those other words are lowercased. Always, the closing ends with a comma. To write your name, you go back to directly under the first letter for the first letter of your name and sign off. And that is all there is to the layout of a friendly letter. I look forward to writing them in class with you. Thank you for your attention.